In this video, we are going to discuss the linked list data structure and the recursive algorithm to calculate length of the linked list. I will give you a line-by-line simple explanation of all the code that we will be writing in this video. Watch this video till the end, as I will also show you visually how to construct logic while writing linked list algorithms. My name is Aditya Shenoy from Brainy Things, where I make programming simple and fun. YouTube statistics show that some of you who watch my videos are not subscribed to this channel, so if you end up liking this video, please consider subscribing. It is free and you can always change your mind in future. Before constructing the linked list class, first we will create a node class. So I will create a class, I will name it as node, and inside this I will define the constructor by defining the _init function. Apart from self parameter, this node class will have a data parameter so that we can set self.data is data. So each node in the linked list will have a data, and that data will be the data inside the node of the linked list. As this linked list is a single linked list, each node in the linked list will have a next pointer. So we will set self.next is none. Initially it will point to none, but as the linked list will start connecting to each other, this next pointer will point to other node objects. So let's execute this and start writing the code for the linked list class. So again, I will create a class. I will name it as linked list. And inside this, again, I will define a constructor. And as in the previous video, we have already discussed how to insert nodes in the linked list. I will write the logic for inserting nodes in the linked list in the constructor itself. If you are not sure how to write code for inserting nodes in the linked list, I have made a detailed video for 3 specific cases of inserting nodes. So you can definitely check out that in the iCard above and in the description below. So I will take an input of array of elements that we need to insert in the linked list. Initially we will set self.head is none. This head pointer will point to the first node in the linked list. As initially the linked list is empty, this head pointer will initially point to none. And we need to traverse all the elements in the array that we have passed in the parameter. So we will start a for loop for element in array, but inside this for loop we will be inserting nodes at the beginning of the linked list. So to maintain the order of the elements in the array as well as in the linked list, we need to traverse the array elements in reverse. So for that I will use slice operator like this, :-1, which states that we need to reverse the array and then traverse the elements. Inside this, I will just write the code that we use to insert nodes at the beginning of the linked list. Again, you can definitely check out that video in the iCard and in the description. So we first create a new node by calling the constructor that we have created over here and pass the element, that is the data of the node of the linked list. Next, we will set new node.next to current self.head, and then when we update the self.head to this new node. So this is the entire constructor. These 3 lines are for inserting nodes at the beginning. Now we have to write another function, that is the string function, so that we can pass linked list objects inside the print function directly and we can visualize the linked list elements clearly. So I will define _string function with just self parameter. I will initialize a result list that will hold all the data inside the linked list. Then I will start traversing the linked list from self.head. While there are nodes in the linked list, I will append to the result list the string representation of node.data like this. After the node.data has been appended, we need to traverse to the next element, that is node equal to node.next. And when the node becomes none, that is we reach the end of the linked list and we break out of the while loop, we need to return an arrow separated string that will join all the data that is present inside the result list. Now, as all the constructor of the node class and the linked list class is ready and the utility function to convert a linked list to a string is also ready, we can start writing the actual code, that is the recursive code to find length of the linked list. So we will start by defining a function that is length underscore recursive like this, and we will just pass a self parameter to indicate that this is an instance function. But to make this recursive function actually work, we need to create a helper function, because 0 parameters apart from self parameter is not sufficient. So we will return the value returned by length recursive helper that we will define in some time. So inside this we will pass self dot head, that is we want to start the length calculation of the length from self dot head, and this will be a self like instance function, so we need to call like this self dot length recursive helper. So we know that which node we are talking about. To visualize how this recursive function will work, let's consider the boundary case first. If the self.head is none, that is there is no node in the linked list. So if the self.head, that is the node passed inside the recursion function, is none, it should return 0, that is the length of the linked list is 0. But if we know that the current node is not none, and we know by somehow that the length of the linked list of the node ahead of that, that is if we know the length of the linked list from second node to the end of the linked list, we can just add 1 to it and return that. So we don't care how the length of the linked list is calculated in the other nodes, but we just care about how the length of the linked list is calculated for the current node. So we will use the same mechanism over here. And don't worry, if you can't visualize that, we will definitely visualize that by dry running this. So I will define this helper function like length recursive helper, and as we are calling this by self dot, so we need to pass a self parameter and the node, the current node. As discussed, we first need to like in any recursive call, we first need to check for the boundary cases, otherwise it will go in infinite recursion. So our boundary case is when the node passed becomes none. So if we will first check if node, if the node is not none, we will return 1 plus, we will call the recursive function again, length recursive helper, and as the current node has been calculated by this 1, we can proceed with the next node. So we will pass node dot next, and once the length of the all the other nodes, like the nodes in the front, has been written, we will add 1 and return back to its column. And once the node becomes none, this if condition will become false and we will just return 0. That is, if node is none, the linked list is empty and just we can return the 0 value. So this is just the recursive function, like 3 lines, and it will cover all the boundary cases as well as non-boundary cases. So let's visualize this code. Suppose we have a linked list of 3 nodes. So each linked list will have a head pointer. So we will first create that, and then we will construct 3 nodes like this, and the last node will point to none value. So this is the linked list with 3 nodes. The head is pointing to the first node and the last node is pointing to a none value. Next, like the next pointer of the last node is none. So when we call the length recursive function, it will recursively call its self.head. So the current call will have this node, and it will check if node. So node is not none, so that is true. And in recursive function, we don't need to actually draw the entire recursion tree and do the dry run. For doing the dry run of a recursive function, you just need to have like a basic understanding of what will happen for each node. You don't care about the other nodes. So we'll first check for this node. So we are saying that return 1 plus self.length recursive helper node.next. If node, so node is not none, that is true. And if suppose like we assume that the answer returned by this recursive function is true, like the next node, that is this sublist, that is the linked list starting with node.next, that is node 2 and all the nodes afterwards, the length is 2. So we will assume that this answer is returned 2 and 1 is added to that result, like 1 plus 2, and a result of 3 is written. And that is correct because the entire length of linked list is 3. Similarly, we can verify that for this as well. So whether this is correct, returning correctly or not, it will first check if node is not none. It is not none, so it will return 1 plus the length of recursive helper of the node.next, that is node starting from this node. So we will assume that the answer returned again will be correct. So the length of this sublist, that is this node and the none, is 1, that is only one node is there, and it will return 1 plus 1, that is this 1 and the answer returned by this one. So the answer will be 2. So this length of the linked list, that sublist, is 2. So that is also correct. You can verify this also, like if the current node is this, so node is not none, it will enter this, it will return 1 plus the length of the recursive helper. The node ahead of that is 0, there is no node, so it should return 0. We will assume first it will return 0, but we will verify that afterwards. So if we assume that this will return 0, we will just add 1 plus 0 and return that, so which is correct because this sublist has a length of 1. Now for the boundary case, what will happen if this node recursively calls its next node, that is a node of none value is passed in the function. So it will first check if node, but node is none over here, so it will return 0. And we can see that we don't have to traverse the entire recursion tree. We just have to assume that the answer returned by the recursion function will be correct, and we need to assume that and check for the current node's answer. And if that is correct for each node, then our recursion code is correct. So we have tested that for like all the non-boundary cases, that is these three nodes and the boundary condition as well. So our recursion code works for all cases. Now as we are sure that our code works, we can execute this code and we can write actual code to test this. So I will create a linked list object by calling the constructor of the linked list, and we need to pass an array of elements. We will first pass the same example that we have just visualized now, that is 1, 2 and 3, and we will first visualize the linked list that we have constructed by using the print function. This print function will work because we have defined the string function and it knows how to print a linked list. Now if I execute this, we will see that 1, 2 and 3 is correctly being constructed. Now I can print linked list dot length recursive. We don't need to call the recursive helper function, that is an hidden function. We just need to call the length recursive and it will call the entire internal functions automatically. So I will call this length recursive and it will return a value of 3. So that is correct. We can change the input value to say like 2 elements, linked list of 2 elements. And if we run this, linked list is properly constructed with the length of 2. Again, linked list with just one element. Execute this. This is the linked list, that is node 1, and this is the length. We can also pass empty linked list to see what happens. Yes, a blank line indicating empty linked list and then a 0 length. So as you can see, all the boundary cases as well as non-boundary cases are covered by the recursion function. So this is how you write the recursive code to find the length of the linked list. The time complexity of this version is linear, that is O of n, as we have to traverse the entire list in this code. The space complexity is linear, that is O of n for recursive code due to recursion stack space usage. Hence, use iterative code unless you are asked specifically to write recursive code in an interview. If you ended up liking this video, please press that like button, comment any feedback that you have for this video or this channel, share this video with your friends. The code that I write in all my videos of this channel is available in my GitHub profile, whose link is in the description. You can connect to me via LinkedIn, whose link is again in the description. If you want to see a line-by-line explanation of data structures and algorithms like this, check out the playlist over here. If you want to learn Python built-in functions along with various Python features, tips, tricks, and real project examples, then check out the playlist over here. If you want to see a hands-on game development project, check out the playlist over here. And I will see you in the next video.